Who would Marvel heroes be without their villains? Villains are half the formula that shapes such interesting stories and have created a brand recognizable by everyone. Let's check out the most important Marvel villains. Magneto, like many great villains, started out as a cackling stereotype of a villain, with little development. Over time, that has severely changed, and made Magneto one of Marvel's greatest villains. His identifying characteristic is tragedy, from his origin as a Holocaust survivor, to his mission that one can sympathize with, and not to mention his friendship with his arch-nemesis, Professor X. Magneto has made Marvel fans rethink what an antagonist can be. One of Marvel's greatest heroes pairs opposite one of its greatest villains. He's had a vast history of leadership and even heroism, but fans will always remember him as an iconic Marvel villain. Green Goblin is to Marvel as Joker is to DC. He's the insane villain that challenges one of Marvel's most interesting heroes in ways that no one else seems to be able to. There is a common trope that heroes create their own villains in one way or another. With this next one, it's never been more literal. Ultron is a creation of Hank Pym, and therefore has a much more personal connection to the Avengers than any other villain. He's a literal reflection of the power that these heroes have, and what happens when they fail to use it responsibly. No villain brought time travel into the mainstream like Kang the Conqueror. He showed that not every Avengers-level threat needs to be an alien, a monster, or a god. Kang was just a man, but he was a man with an important tool, and that tool was access to the timeline. Futuristic technology and the ability to just keep coming in different variants turned a normal man from the future into one of the greatest Marvel villains. One of the universe's first great threats instantly became a staple villain. Whether he's battling the Fantastic Four or the Avengers, Galactus is definitely trying to eat the planet they live on. He represents an evil force without necessarily any malice. Instead, he's a neutral cosmic being that makes for the ultimate final boss battle. The God of Mischief is the perfect foil to Thor, and the two have battled for centuries. Truthfully, Loki tends to be a pest to anyone he comes across, but hidden behind his mischievous exterior is a truly menacing villain. Even though he has become more heroic as of late, his villainy helped form several different powerful iterations of the Avengers team. It's hard to be a more iconic villain than the literal devil. Mephisto is the manifestation of Marvel's devil, the king of the underworld and the ultimate man behind the curtain. Mephisto's proclivity for evil drives a lot of stories in Marvel Comics. Beyond that, he's also instrumental in a lot of Marvel's darker world heroes like Blade or Ghost Rider. Doctor Doom is a human genius who, with the power of his mind, has become at times the most powerful being in the multiverse. The greatest thing about Doctor Doom is his walking contradictions. He is sympathetic and benevolent, but ruthless and cruel. It's what makes him such a great villain. He can be helping the Avengers in one moment, only to turn on them to conquer the world himself in another. The arch-nemesis of certain heroes are so good against that hero that they become iconic in the minds of comic readers. Captain America is the definitive hero. He represents bravery, truth, justice, and good. So his diametric opposite would have to at least be a great representation of bad. The Red Skull has battled Cap, S.H.I.E.L.D., and even other villains at times. It's his relentless motivation that makes you love to hate him. When it comes to iconic Marvel villains, it's hard to beat Thanos, the Mad Titan who fell in love with death and murdered half the universe to prove it. He has taken on all Avengers and even the entire universe. He has ascended to godlike power, and overall is the guy when someone says, hey, think of a Marvel villain. And those are the most important Marvel villains. Which one do you think is the worst? And which ones do you think we left out?